Good morning students. History chapter 2 last class we have learned about Anglo-Mysore War and Anglo-Maratha War. Today we will see the annexation of Sindh and Punjab by the British, doctrine of lapse and subsidiary alliance. Let us see the annexation of Sindh by the British. The English East India Company wanted to annex Afghanistan. However, it could not be possible without conquering Sindh. In 1809, a treaty was signed with the Amrys rulers of Sindh. As per this treaty, the Amrys promised not to let the French pass through their territories and the British promised not to transport arms through Sindh. So let us, I will explain. The East India Company want to annex Afghanistan. So they cannot, it could not be possible without conquering Sindh. So finally they decided 1809, a treaty was signed with the Amrys rulers. Here, Amrys rulers means three independent states was formed in Sindh. Okay, what are the states? Independent states: Kairpur, Mirpur, and Hyderabad. They began to be called as the Amrys of Sindh. 1809. So the English East India Company concluded their first treaty with the Amrys of Sindh. Actually, these rulers promised not to let the French pass through their territory. They promised not to allow the French pass through their country. In return, English would never carry their military stores or armed vessels through Sindh. But in 1839, the English East India Company violated the terms of this treaty during the First Afghan War when they carried their armed forces to Afghanistan via Sindh. So, according to the treaty, they told that we are not carrying any armed forces to Afghanistan via Sindh. But now, in 1839, during the period of 1839, East India Company violated the terms of this treaty because at that time the first Afghan war was broke out. But the arms, but the Sindh rulers kept quiet only. In fact, the English wanted to annex Sindh. He forced the Amrit rulers to raise their standard of revolt. Actually, he annexed Sindh to the British Empire in 1843. In 1843, so now this British East India Company official accused the Amris of plotting against the British. They used to accuse the Amris of plotting against us. So they are telling that Amris rulers, they are planning against the British, whatever they are doing. So Sindh was finally attached and annexed by Charles in 1843. So this Charles, he annexed Sindh to the British Empire in 1843 and the Amris were forced out of Sindh. In this way, the annexation of Sindh without any valid reasons was fully unjust. In the late 1830s and early 1840s, the East India Company fought a long war with Afghanistan and eventually established indirect company rule there. So now Sindh was annexed by the British East India Company in British Empire in 1843. The Amris were forced out of Sindh. In this way, the annexation of Sindh without any valid reason was fully unjust. That is why a historian has remarked that the British in India had done many unjust things of which none could be matched the annexation of Sindh. So without any reason, without any solid reason like that, the British East India Company, this British in India had done lot of annexation. So unjust things of match the annexation of Sindh. Is it clear? Now we will see the annexation of the Punjab. Punjab was the last independent state to be annexed. Punjab was ruled by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Maharaja Ranjit Singh, popularly known as the Lion of Punjab. He was the founder of the independent Sikh kingdom. He maintained a huge army on European lines. He was on friendly terms with the British. He had built a strong army, equipped and trained like the European forces. As long as he was alive, the British did not interfere in the affairs of the kingdom. After that, death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in 1839, there was a struggle for there was a struggle for power. After his death in 1839, disorder and anarchy prevailed in Punjab. Finally, his youngest son, Dalit Singh, he was placed on the throne, and the Queen Mother, Rani Jintan, was made the regent in 1843. So, youngest son, Dalit Singh, so he became the ruler, but he was minor. That is why they they made Queen Mother Rani Jintan as a regent in 1843. Here, what is the meaning of regent? A person appointed to administrate a state because the monarch is a minor. When the king become a minor, so someone has to take in charge to administrate a state. So that is why Queen Mother Rani Jintan take the appointed to administrate a state. The first Anglo-Sikh War broke out when the Sikh army tried to cross the Satluj and occupy Lahore. The British defeated the Sikhs and the Treaty of Lahore was signed. It recognized Dalip Singh was the ruler and his mother as regent. The Sikhs had to pay a huge war indemnity. Here, indemnity, war damage, and also give away parts of their territories to the British. Soon, the British accused Rani Jintan of anti-British activities. British blamed Rani Jintan. She is doing anti-British activities and removed her from power. This led to widespread revolt throughout Punjab. In the Second Anglo-Sikh War that ensued, the Sikhs were defeated and the British annexed the state of Punjab in 1849. Now we will see the expansion through subsidiary alliance. The doctrine of subsidiary alliance was initiated by Marcus Wellesley, Governor General of India from 1798 to 1805. The main objective was to gain control over large tracts of India without direct wars. The English made annexations not only by wars but also by adopting some other methods. The chief among them were the subsidiary system and the doctrine of lands. In order to conquer new territories and to organize the British armies, to exclude the French influence from the Indian states, and to make Britain a paramount power in India, Lord Wellesley prepared a new system which is known in history as the subsidiary alliance. Let us see what are the features of this system. What are the chief features of this subsidiary alliance? First one, any Indian rulers who accepted subsidiary alliance with the British had to disband their army and keep British forces within their territory and agree to pay for their maintenance. The rulers were also forced to keep a British official at their court called the residence. I will explain. Any Indian rulers accepting the subsidiary system were to agree the stationing of the British force. They have to agree the stationing of the British force. They have to keep British forces within the territory. The Indian rulers once accepted the subsidiary alliance, so they have to keep the British forces within the territory and have to pay, and they have to agree to pay for their maintenance. So whatever maintenance charge for the British army, the Indian ruler, they have to pay for the British. The rulers were also forced to keep British official at their court called the residence. So the Indian ruler would allow a British resident to stay in his state. The rulers had to expel all non-English foreigners from their state. So he would not employ any Europeans other than English. If there was already any, he would dismiss them. So he would not employ any Europeans other than the English. If there was already any, he would dismiss them. They had to surrender control of their foreign affairs to the British and agreed to abide by the decision of the British. The company in return promised to protect such rulers from external and internal dangers. He would not employ any Europeans other than English, and if there was already any, he would dismiss them. In case of any conflict with any other state, he would agree to the decision of the English. So, whatever decisions, or if any conflict between the state or any other state, the Indian ruler would agree whatever British decision making, he would accept that decision. He would acknowledge the British company as the paramount power. In return for accepting all these terms and conditions, the company undertook to protect him from the external dangers and internal disorders. The Nizam of Hyderabad was the first to enter into the subsidiary alliance with the English in 1798. He dismissed the French officers and their place kept an English subsidiary force for whose maintenance he first paid them 34 lakh rupees, and then in 1800 he gave the English territories of Bellary and Kadapa. So the first Indian ruler, the Nizam of Hyderabad, was the first to enter into the subsidiary alliances in 1798 he accepted. The Nawab of Oudh was the next to accept the subsidiary alliances in 1801 under pressure from Lord Wellesley. He had to cede to the English about half of his territories comprising Rohilkhand, Gorakhpur and the territories between the Ganga and the Ganga and the Yamuna rivers. The Nawab of Oudh was the next to accept the subsidiary alliance in 1801 under pressure Lord Wellesley. Cede, he had to cede to the English about half of his territories comprising Rohilkhand, Gorakhpur and the territories between the Ganga and the Yamuna rivers. He was followed by the Peshwa Bajirao II, who accepted the subsidiary alliance as one of the terms of Treaty of Berlin in 1802 and agreed to pay in return a rupees 20 sum of 26 lakh rupees a year. So next, followed by Peshwa Bajirao, accepted the subsidiary alliances as one of the terms of Treaty of Berlin in 1802 and agreed to pay in return a sum of 26 lakhs rupees a year. Now we will see the doctrine of lapse. Under Lord Dalhousie, who was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856, a new scheme for indirect annexation was devised. This policy was known as the doctrine of lapse. According to the doctrine, if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse and it would be taken over by the East India Company with immediate effect. The right of adoption was denied to the Indian rulers. The company annexed the princely states of Satara 1848, Jaipur and Sambalpur 1849, Nagpur and Jhansi 1854 and Oudh 1856 using this doctrine. So name the kingdoms which were annexed on the basis of doctrine of lapse: Satara, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Nagpur and Jhansi. Dalhousie was also responsible for the abolition of titles and pensions of the heirs of childless Indian rulers and annexation of their territories. Tanjore and Carnatic were annexed in this manner only. When Peshwa Bajirao II died, pension was denied to his adopted son. Nana Sahib, even though He had been accepted by the Marathas as the next Peshwa. Similarly, the imperial title of the Mughal emperor was abolished after Bahadur Shah too. He also annexed the state of Oudh in 1856 allied misgovernment. So in 1856, Dalhousie also took over the kingdom of Oudh with the reason that it was being misgoverned. Wajid Ali Shah, the last ruler, had been a loyal British ally. Thus, this move proved to be highly unpopular. Today, we have learned the annexation of Punjab, Sindh, then doctrine of lapse, subsidiary alliances. That's all for today class. I hope you all understood. Meet you in the next class. Till then, revise the chapter top. Thank you. Have a nice day.